Hello, good evening, our beloved viewers. It's 9 p.m. You are watching on Live RTD channel. Welcome to this English news edition. Here are the top stories. An awareness session for respect of sanitary measures and the practice of pilgrimage rites. In Ukraine, and UN continues investigation into possible war crimes in Ukraine. Those were the top stories. Thanks for joining us in our newsroom. The Minister of Islamic Affairs and Endowment organized an awareness session for the people who will perform Al-Hajj this year at the People's Palace. The occasion was attended by the Minister of Islamic Affairs and Endowment, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdillah, the official of Ministry of Islamic Affairs and the Ministry of Health. In the Ministry of Health, this program aims to educate pilgrims on a way to perform their religious duty and how to respect the health measure implemented by the authorities of the two countries. And at the level of two countries, it is mentioned that the pilgrimage said that Al-Hajj is one of the five pillars of the Islamic religion. In his intervention on this occasion, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdillah, indicated the importance of this occasion. He said, "We are following up with my colleague in this occasion, and I wish that all pilgrims will do their duties of the pilgrims, and they will respect the measures and the barriers of health." For his part, the Minister of Islamic Affairs and Endowment, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, indicate the importance of performing their religious duty. He said, the pilgrims and the programs aims to educate the pilgrims on the way to perform their religious duty and how to respect the health measure implemented by the authorities of the two countries. The official opening of the 15 sessions of the Convention on the Rights of a Person with Disabilities was held on June 14 at the United Nations headquarters in New York. The Republic of Djibouti was represented at this session by the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Ms. Sulufa Ismail Abdou. This convention, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in June 2006, ensure that persons with disability have full access to and equal enjoyment of all human rights. The Republic of Djibouti ratified in 2010 the Convention on the Rights of a Person with Disabilities, which commits states to take all necessary measures to ensure that persons with disabilities can exercise their human and socio-economic rights and to remove physical, cultural, economic, and the barriers that prevent their development and integration into the workforces. This year, the theme of the conference was building inclusive and participatory societies for people with disability in the context of COVID-19, and beyond several sub-themes such as innovation and technology for the rights of persons with disability, and but also the economic empowerment and the entrepreneurship of persons with disabilities and participation of persons with a special need in climate action, disaster rights reduction, and the natural disasters animated the exchange among the stakeholders. In a speech delivered in this occasion, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Ms. Ulufa Ismail Abdu, spoke about the tireless effort made by our country to improve the living condition of disabled person. It gives me, she said, a great pleasure and pride to participate with you today on this solemn occasion in these important side events about the COVID-19, which is being held under the theme Disability During Epidemic and Crisis, Technological Update, the Adaptation, Economic Empowerment. On January 3, she said, 2010, the Republic of Djibouti ratified the International Treaty on the Rights of a Person with Disability, which obligates states parties to take all necessary measures to ensure that person with disability to obtain their basic social and economic rights and to remove physical, cultural, economic, and the behavioral barriers that impede their development and professional the integration. But also, she said, Djibouti, by ratifying this treaty, has pledged itself to faithful all the rights and obligations arising from it and has already fulfilled its duties to the extent possible and has made great progress in building a treaty and a truly inclusive, just, and equitable society with disability. As part of the bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the 12th WTO Ministerial Conference in Geneva, the Djibouti delegation led by the Minister of Trade and Tourism, Mr. Mohamed Warsama Dirie, met yesterday with the Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. In the past, she was the Vice President, Miss of Costa Rica, and the first woman and the first person from Central America to hold the post of Secretary General of the UNCTAD. The Costa Rica economist took up her new post as Secretary General of the UNCTAD on the 13th September for a 4-year term. After the usual introduction, the Minister of Trade and Tourism began by thanking his host for the welcome despite his very busy schedule. In a speech to the Minister of Trade and Tourism in particular, he affirmed that Djibouti supports the proposals made by the African, Caribbean, and Pacific groups of states. In his speech, he first summarized briefly the activities undertaken by the UNCTAD in the Republic of Djibouti's filed. On the other hand, the minister addressed issues of food security, which are at the core of the concern of this conference, and also he indicated the importance of this phenomenon of the food security. He then went on the presence of a development challenge on the Republic. Indeed, as everyone notes, Djibouti since 2015, the vision of 2035 has begun its structural transformation, seeking to exploit the opportunities offered by the service sector. It has succeeded in developing the port service industry and telecommunication at the national and regional level. Djibouti also aims to be a regional hub, and this ambition can only be achieved with human resources that adapt to the challenges. as part of the participation for the 45th anniversary of Djibouti's independence, women, parliamentarians, and local elected officials visit and held awareness session in the community development structure of the Greater Arhiba and Humbuli Jebel neighborhood. The visit brought together at the CDC of Humbuli several women, parliamentarians, different representatives of UNFD and the association, including Ms. Shukri, the deputy, Ibrahim Abdou, as well as the parliamentarians from and the deputy mayor, Ms. Fatuma Kamil, at the CDC of Arhiba. The objective of this visit was to inform the residents of the neighborhood about the different events that will be organized in honor of the 45th anniversary of the independence, and to sensitize them to clean up, decorate their neighborhoods, and raise the national flag. The residents of the different neighborhoods showed their participation and patriotism, their will and their enthusiasm to work in order to beautify their neighborhood. The women parliamentarians, the representative of the UNFD and the city also affirmed that they will work together hand in hand in order to beautify the country for the access of the commemoration of the 45th anniversary of our National Day. The schedule for from June 27, 2022. As part of the preparation for the festivities of June 27, a team of parliamentarians went yesterday to the city of Nasib of the Foundation for Contact and Dialogue, focused on the preparation for the 45th anniversary. These big parties brought together the committees, the neighborhood of the council, the representative of various associations organized at the Women's Sports Complex of IOG Foundation. It is in a festive atmosphere, in a well-planned decor, noting will have missed the success of this day. It was this morning the Chief of General Staff of the Army Forces, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, attended the first training for the participations of June 27 parade on the track commonly known as Tora Bora. This first training for the 27 June parade was for the defense forces. On his arrival, he was welcomed by the Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, the Chief of Defense Staff. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim then greeted the peak of honor and passed in front of the platoons for the honors before they began the parade. The first began with the raising of colors to the rhythm of national music, where the national flag was raised high. After the review of troops, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim attended the military parade on foot. The national music opened the bench with the orchestra's instruments on a rhythm of the step. Then the parade could begin. This parade is composed of two blocks. The first blocks march on a melody and the national music. The second block, as for him, the parade by singing. Each block of parade has its specified and specificity. On the cases of difficulties lies in the fact of being able to synchronize the step with a melody. This parade was punctuated by an aerial parade of planes of air forces. The secondary certificate exams supervised by the Yemeni Ministry of Education ended today at the Yemeni schools in Djibouti. To this end, a delegation led by the ambassador of the Republic of Yemen in Djibouti, Mr. Abdullah bin Mustalman, visit the schools together with the member of founding bodies and the board director of schools led by Al-Hajj Abdurrahman Ahmed Taha. As part of this visit, the delegation visited several examination rooms, which lasted about 3 weeks. It should be noted that the Yemeni schools established in 1991 played some major roles in the technique and the teaching and the Arabic language and Islamic culture. It is also worth noting that the schools recently held a farewell party for the 31 first graduating classes. Great first for the Women's Association of Tajura, the AFT chaired by Ms. Hasna, who marks the handicraft with plastic recover in the white city of Tajura, noble actions undertaken by the AFT Association to preserve the environment while creating income generating activities for the women of the AFT. And this project entitled Stop Plastic, it's carried out with the support of the International Organization for the Environment, and noble action undertaken by the AFT to preserve the good environment while creating income generating activities for the women of the Tajura. And this project entitled Stop Plastic is executed with the support of the International Organization of the Francophonie, which initiated the project in 2020 to help vulnerable women of the space early in the morning, wearing vests in a gang to the women members of the AFT goes around the different neighborhood of Tajura to collect the plastic that are found on every street corner around the trees in the and to put them in a piles and plastic bags, then headed for the headquarters of the AFT, and then the direction forwards the headquarters of the AFT, where the work of treatment transformation begin. All plastic products are washed then this through the hands of a woman expert in the second. Plastic bags are used as raw materials for the transformed plastic wasted. All the products and are intended for sale and available in premises in the AFT of Tajura city. And the delegation from the OIF visit the AFT center to see the executions and results of the project, but also they welcomed by the president of the AFT, Ms. Hassana, who thanked the delegation of the Francophonie which support this project and reiterate the step taken for the success of this project, which benefit more than 50 women in Tajura and can be an example for other women in the capital and region. The youth movement, one and indivisible in the collaboration with the Regional Council of Oboh and with the Union of Women of Oboh, organized June 11th cleanliness activities around the beach of the Fishermen's District and the region of Oboh. The strengthened and the culture, but also citizens' engagement in the work of a common interest. This operation of cleanliness aimed to involve, raise awareness, and strengthen the collective and voluntary practice of activities related to sensitize the sanitation and environmental protection. on this occasion, the president of the youth movement, One and Indivisible, Mr. Ahmed Mogola, said that this voluntary action aims to support the effort of women and youth member of association who are already working in cleanliness actions in the region of Oboch. The association network of Rwanda organized this week in participation and partnership with the BCMR a day of reading in the gardens of Rwanda near the source. It was a day full of emotion. The children of Rwanda enjoy these enriched cultural activities with joy and motivation. The day was reading in the gardens. Many activities were carried out for the benefit of curious and motivate children after the welcoming works. The words of children were able to read aloud in front of the audience and authorities of the Jura region. The educational advisor also took part in this unique initiative. The nomadic library is now on its way to cover the whole country. At the end of the day, the person in charge of the BCMR and the Rwanda Association read the extra of a book to the children and appreciate the initiative. The day ended with salting out the camels loaded with books for the other village. The conference room of Guled Stadium hosted 2 days technical training in the sport training methodology for different sports federation. The workshop and first of its kind will contribute enormously to create a favorable framework for the promotion of sports activities within the different sports federation, as well as to achieve the orientation of the Secretary of State in charge of sport. The 2 days training session ended with a ceremony to hand over certificate to various DTN of Sports Federation. As a reminder, this training session for the DTN is courses symbolizing the new sport dynamic employed by the Secretary of State in charge of sport. Moving on to the international scenes, the European Commission President Ursula von der oversaw the signing of a memorandum of understanding in Cairo to increase gas exports from Israel and Egypt to European Union countries. With this contract, the EU hopes to no longer depend on gas from Russia, which has out of some supplies, and the retaliation for its support for the Ukraine. The discussions have been underway since March to allow increased export of Israeli gas through Egypt. Another more expensive solution is to build an underwater gas pipeline linking Israel to Greece and Italy through Cyprus. This is it for this edition. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening.